Hello. Thanks for joining
Hi.
us for conversations on health, happiness, and hope.
Welcome everyone. Good morning or good afternoon now. Hmm.
All right,
How have
and
you
we are
been?
streaming.
Okay.
I've been doing all right. I know you are aware of like the struggles I've been having with sleep recently. So I
Mhm.
had my second in lab sleep study, and I also had a nap study. So that was surreal and different. But
Okay.
how's
What's the
everything
nap
been going for
study like?
you? The nap study? Okay, well, you pretty much need to sleep on demand. They tell you you're gonna go and have a nap at 7:45. We're gonna come in and wake you up 20 minutes later, and then they ask you, "How did you sleep? Do you feel like you fell asleep?" And there were a couple of times where I was like, "You know what? I was in and out of sleep, or I slept hard, or I'm not really sure if I slept." And it was just kind of a
Right.
strange feeling. So you're in this room isolated by yourself, which is, for an introvert like me, it was fine. I was reading, I was coloring, and snacking and napping. But it just felt strange at the same time because you're just in this room by yourself for hours and hours
Right.
until they say, okay, this is your last nap. You're ready to go.
Interesting. That's so cool that you have that experience though.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironically, it was
Huh.
the most relaxed I'd been in a while.
Well, there you go. Oh.
What about you?
I've been good. I got back from vacation and it was, super busy trying to get caught up with everything at work. And my daughter just started a new job, 2 new jobs actually.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so it's been a little hectic, like trying to manage all of our schedules and everything.
Mhm.
But it's okay. We recently adopted 3 piglets
Aw.
and, yeah, yes, except that at first it was so tiring, they were, like, needing to eat every hour and a half, 2 hours. So now they're finally sleeping through the night, which is great.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I don't know anyone with piglets. How fun is that?
Um,
And now I'm just splitting the screen here so I can
mhm,
hopefully see if anyone comments. I
yeah, should
am
probably put it on my
muted.
phone so I can check
There
that
we
out
go.
too.
Yeah. But how great that you were just talking about that you came back from vacation because we thought it'd be fun to share our vacation experiences. Did
Oh,
you want to go first or?
sure. You want this vacation or just vacations in general or
Whatever has been, your favorite or your most memorable, or
okay, so
you know.
so, I really did like this last vacation. We didn't really do much of anything, but what I liked about it is that we hung out at my sister's house, and then my brother and his family came over, and so all the kids were playing, and we were doing like trivia games, and just just relaxing and having a good time, which I really enjoyed. And so we did that a couple nights in a row, and then they all came over to my parents' house and did the same thing again, so it was just really nice, like, family time, without, like, running around doing a lot of stuff. So, I felt like we accomplished a lot in that way, of that reconnecting, which was really great. So, I was really happy for that. I've been to Fall Creek Falls, which I think is always one of my favorite vacation spots, to go there, and you can hike the trails in the mountains, and the falls are beautiful. Um, I remember my first, like, vacation with just the children and I, we did, like, a waterfall hike vacation. So we went to Cummins Falls, which is in um, Middle Tennessee in the Southern Cumberland Mountains in the plateau, Burgess Falls, and then Machine Falls. And the Machine Falls one was amazing because they have this little like spot where the water comes off from the you can't see the waterfall yet. But as you're hiking in, there's this spot with this, it's kind of like a pool, and it's this
Yeah.
like 50-degree water. And so it's like freezing cold because it's like 98, 100 degrees in the middle of summer. And they just had a blast jumping into the water. It was about maybe chest high water. It wasn't like super deep or anything. And then they had a blast filming me screaming as I jumped in. And so that was a lot of fun. I think my favorite vacations are ones where we do a lot of nature stuff or just kind of hanging out, enjoying time together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. And I was wondering if it was in Tennessee because I know that's where you live. Um,
Yeah.
my mom and I have a family friend who I don't know if she did it or not, but she said that it would be awesome to just go on like a waterfall trip and just go and see all the waterfalls. And I've seen some things
Mhm.
online and in books where like they'll map it out and be like, oh, this you go from this waterfall to that waterfall, and just go across the country.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. So how about you? What are some of your memorable vacations?
One of my memorable ones also involves a waterfall. I think it was last year or the year before where Chris and I went on the Tail of the Dragon trip. And this
Hmm.
is a very windy road. And I'm not wearing the shirt right now, or I could tell you the specifics, but I think it's like 311 curves and 11 miles or something
Wow.
similar to that. So that's why it's called the Tail of the Dragon, because it kind of just whips you around in the middle of the woods. But there's all these beautiful places where you can look off into the mountains and see the trees. And this was in North Carolina, Tennessee. No, maybe not. Yeah, North Carolina, Tennessee is where we were at. And we also went to
Okay.
Kansas. I think it was those three.
Okay.
And then after the end of that, I got sick. Just a lot of motion and kind of losing space of where
Yes.
you're at because you're
Yes.
just constantly changing directions. And it was still like the most fun that I had at the time. And I got this idea that Chris and I could do like cooperative journaling because I've journaled forever. So I wrote something about just feeling so inspired and enjoying everything and how beautiful the view was. And it's like, I don't know which more green, you or the trees. And it said something about how I just felt like a child, just in wonder of everything. And you wrote
Mm.
White Pearled. It was hilarious. And when we got done with the Tail of the Dragon, he's like, "Okay, do you want to go to Valhalla Skyway?" And apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I'm trying to remember. It's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we had to just stop at every spot where we could. So I would just, okay, have a mint, just cool down. But it was so
And so
much
what
fun.
was the Valhalla Skyway? Is that
Um,
windy as well?
yes, it was windy, but it was less populated because not as many people knew about it. So I actually
Okay.
enjoyed it more than Tail of the Dragon. And oh my goodness, there were just so many places to park and look off where there weren't as many with Tail of the Dragon.
Okay.
But yeah, it was so beautiful, and it's in the Smoky Mountains, which was the first time that I got to see those in person.
Yeah, the Smoky Mountains are amazing. It kind of reminds me of Blue Ridge Trail. So, which is
Yes.
also very winding and it goes up the side of the mountain and there's like all these drop-offs and you start at the bottom and I like to do it in the summer because it's hot. So you start at the
Yeah.
bottom and it's hot, and by the time you get to the top, you have to put sweaters on because it's like 40 degrees.
Oh my.
And so it's very cool ecological trip because you get this feel of this change of climate from, you know, in less than an hour. You go from like the middle of summer to like winter,
Yeah.
feeling temperatures, which is great. And all of these look offs, but it was very scary because like the locals drove really fast and I'm just like, we're on the edge of a mountain. How can you drive so fast? It's a
Exactly.
scenic highway. You're supposed to drive slow. But yeah, so it was, I don't like driving, or at least I didn't. I haven't done it again since.
Mhm.
Um I get very nervous when I'm driving that high because I feel like anything can happen and we can roll off the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also don't like being a passenger when that happens because I feel like I get motion sickness. If I'm a passenger and somebody else is driving around windy roads or up and down hills, yeah, that happened to me when we were in North Georgia last year. My brother-in-law was driving, we had to stop to get some motion sickness pills just because I just wasn't used to not being in control.
So you can relate to my story then.
Yes. Because when you're driving, you know the curve is coming, and so you're
Mhm.
mentally kind of prepared for it, your body's prepared for it. Um, but when you're not, you're trying to prepare for it, but you can't. It, like, throws off your equilibrium or something,
Oh, for
I think.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm much more comfortable as a passenger myself. Chris is a fantastic driver, so I trust him more than anyone behind the wheel.
yeah.
And we were in a great sports car that handled it very well.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so it
Yeah.
could make all those tight curves.
Tight curves. That's great. Have you vacationed anywhere outside of the country before?
Yes, had my first international vacation early this year. My mother-in-law actually planned everything for us, and then it was going to be her and my father-in-law, and then they invited us along, and for whatever reason, something like that, I would normally say, no, no thanks. I'm a little worried about leaving the country. And in that moment, I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And Chris was like, really? And then we had some, thoughts about it going back and forth. My side of the family was very worried, and it got a little worrisome when we started getting sent all this information on like the crime and everything, but we went and it was amazing, and I'm so glad that we did because we would have missed out on just so many amazing experiences and memories
Right.
to share and pictures. We went whale watching, which was something my mother-in-law
Oh,
really wanted to
cool.
do. Yeah, we watched the gray whales, and it was in a calving um, area. So we got to see, like mothers and playful calves. And thankfully, the gray whales have not hooked up with the orcas and killer whales that are ramming into boats. Shouldn't joke about that, but thankfully
No, right,
we had a
yes.
safe time. So we didn't hear about that until afterward. So that's wild.
Yes. Yeah. Orcas are, they're sharks.
Basically.
Yes. They're beautiful, beautiful creatures, but they are, like, if I don't know if you ever watched, like, a nature documentary about orcas. They're scary too. They're they are apex predator.
I believe it.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, I've only been outside of the country once, and I was very little. We went to Canada, went to the Niagara Falls,
Nice.
which was really nice. I remember it being the middle of summer, and it was, like, 74, 75 degrees and absolutely loving it.
Nice.
So, which was really nice. But I have not been outside the country again since then. Like you, I have my reservations, like, do I wanna leave or do I not? But,
Mhm.
um, I think I'd like to visit Puerto Rico, which I know is
Oh,
technically not outside of the country, it's a US
U.S.
territory, but
territory.
but I consider it outside the country.
Right,
It's
Right.
an island in the middle of the Caribbean, so and right next door is the Dominican. No, that's not. That's Haiti and the Dominican Republic. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, close enough to being outside the country for me, I think, for
Yeah.
now. And then I really do want to visit. I want to do Iceland and I want to visit Ireland and Japan and so one day.
I have a cousin who went to Iceland and a friend who went to Iceland, and it, it's gorgeous. So that would be definitely a nice place for you to go. Now, is that something that you would do on your own, or you would take your kids with you?
So I am of two minds about it. Like I'd love
Yeah.
to bring my children because I think it's such a great experience for them. And
Mhm.
so in the end, I think if I when I do go, I probably will bring them.
Nice.
Um, but then at the same time, if I went by myself, that would also just be a different kind of experience too, just to
Mhm.
go and do all the things. Like I want to go hiking and like I definitely want to hike somewhere in the Swiss Alps and I want to
Very
do all
cool.
the nature stuff and visit the forests and things like that. Whereas if
Mhm.
I have the children, that might be a day or two, but I'd really have to kind of cater to their needs as well, the
Yeah.
fun stuff that they would want to do, everything.
Mhm.
And I say children, my daughter's almost 18, but yes, she's still a child in my mind.
Yeah. Congrats on the jobs for, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
She was looking for a while and she was getting depressed. She was like, "I can't find anything out here." But
oh,
finally, 2 little things came up. One's like a babysitting job twice a week, and the other one is working at our local coffee shop, so which is nice.
yeah.
Which I think it's just good. I told her, "You're still in school. Don't worry about it. You live at home." But, she's at that age where she just really wants her own spending money and wants to feel like she's
Yeah.
contributing to the household, so, yeah. So, I was
Of
happy for
course.
her.
She's your
Yeah.
daughter, so she's gonna be responsible.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome,
Hope
of
so.
course. But that's nice that she
Oh.
has the flexibility.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. I wonder and I was thinking, like, what is it about vacations? Because, when I started working from home,
Mhm.
my idea of that beforehand was like, it'd be kinda like being on vacation all the time, I moved out to the country and there's woods and there's the river and I can go to the coffee shop and work, but it's not the same as like when you actually like just go on a vacation. You
Yeah.
know, for instance, like visiting Florida is awesome, but living in Florida, I don't know that I mean, I know that I'd never want to live in Florida again. So it wasn't the
Mhm.
same as like living there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder what it is about just the vacation part of it that makes a place feel so magical or special.
Well, I think it's has something to do with what you were just saying. If you're not like you said about Florida, that you like to visit there, but you wouldn't want to live there. Where if kind of like our trip to Mexico and the resorts, we never stayed at a resort before. If you were in that all the time, it might lose some of the specialness to it. Hard to
Right.
believe because we had live flamingos on our right outside our terrace, and it was so
Oh.
cool. But I think it's something about it being shorter. So then it's like you look back and you yearn for that or when you can go again.
Mhm. Maybe you start taking in the best of those places
Yeah.
instead of because when there are things that we did that when I lived in Florida, I didn't do, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, when I moved to Tennessee and I started doing all these hiking trips and Warner Park and everything, there are people that lived here for maybe even grew up here, they were like, "Oh, that's in Tennessee?" They go other places to go hiking, they don't realize it's right here, so maybe it's just something like that.
Yeah. I understand that. I've been in Michigan my whole life. Um, Proud Michigander. Just love the beauty all around.
Mhm.
There's definitely a lot to see. There's some areas that aren't the greatest. They're impoverished and um, polluted and things. And then there's other areas like Mackinac Island and Traverse City and um, Pictured Rocks where it's just gorgeous.
Right.
And it's
Right.
so calming and just, it's serene being there. And that in itself is the vacation, is just
Right.
having going away from your worries and your workload and just
Mhm.
having that time for yourself. And I don't know, maybe again, like for me, it's kind of like childlike when you don't have all of those burdens on your shoulder. You can look outside and be like, oh, I see a bunny in that cloud.
Right.
Where, you might not do that on a regular basis when
You're
you're
right. Yeah.
working and have your other responsibilities. So it lightens.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, the bunny might look more like a rock, an obstacle. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And hold on one second. My son just woke up. Oh, you found it?
Oh,
Okay.
no problem.
Sorry about
Hello.
that.
Your mama's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Um, I forgot what I was saying now. Your turn.
Yeah, we were talking about the clouds and the
Oh,
what
yes.
makes the vacations kind of special. But something I did want to say was after I returned from Mexico, I was having dreams where I was still going, "Como se dice?" and then thinking of the word. Like, I kept having dreams in partial Spanish. And I want to say that only stopped maybe a month ago. We went toward the end of February, and that only stopped maybe a month ago where I was having some of those instances in my dreams. It's like, this is too funny. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we met
great.
a lot of cool people there too. There was a family that was originally from Guatemala that
Hmm.
moved to Illinois, and both the husband and that family and my husband were engineers, just in different
Oh, very
areas.
cool.
So it was cool that they got to talk a bit, and then I was speaking Spanish with them as well, and we were singing this song together that was pretty fun. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. Yo no tengo vanidad. This is I have no
Oh,
vanity. Because I was catching some words. I was like, what are they saying here? And what are they saying there? So then I was like singing with them. So yeah,
right.
it was a
Oh,
great
nice.
cultural experience.
Oh, I'm so glad that you had that experience. Yeah. I almost went to Mexico when I was graduating from doing my undergrad, but then I ended up just doing it virtually. So, which
Yeah,
was fine. Um,
cool.
yeah. And it was great. At the time it would have been too much of a stretch because the kids were much younger at that time to try and take them out there. Um, and I will say too that coming back from our vacation, I felt like things were different.
Mhm.
Um, for some reason, I came back really wanting to like simplify my life, like really
Yeah.
simplify and make things work better. Um, so we've done some changes, and even the children too. Like they came back. Like my parents are like clean freaks. I don't know how else to say it. They're just like everything it's like you can't leave anything out for a second if before it's picked up and put away, which is
Yeah.
fine. But you know, when we came back and I would growing up like that, I would notice things around my own house, like, oh, this needs to be
Mhm.
put away but the kids don't see it. Like literally, I just don't think they see it. It's just not there. But since we've come back from this trip, they're seeing stuff like that and really um, doing more to help out and keep the place tidy, which kind of helps, which really was, how do I say it? It kind of relieves me. And I feel like there's a little less stress because
Mhm.
things are neater and tidier. And I think it has to do with like not having like cluttered energy around, and
For
then
sure.
also that kind of feeling that we're kind of working together.
Mhm.
So, when you were mentioning like, oh, talking about vacations, and I was thinking, yeah, I really appreciate that this vacation I came away with wanting to make my life more vacation-like,
Mhm.
in that essence where there's, like, kind of less stress, just like in an everyday kind of way. Yeah,
That's good, especially if your kids are helping you with that because then, that's something they can learn and relieve you of that stress at the same time.
right, exactly, yeah, yeah. So, um, have you had any vacations that kind of made you come away thinking of life differently?
Gonna live differently. Um, I kind of feel like the Mexico trip was like
Mhm,
that. Um, so here I don't really talk to people on a regular basis that I don't know. Where there you're kind of put in these areas and you just everybody's friendly and you're talking with them. But on a normal basis, it's like, okay, you'll talk to a cashier at a store, or you'll talk to someone who's looking at like the same item as you, again at a store,
right.
but you don't usually connect more than that. So to me, it was kind of like looking at the connection and also just the differences and disparities because we
Mhm,
stayed in Magdalena Bay with this really nice family, and the hotel was kind of like an external hotel in a way. The door to your room was outside, so you don't have like a hallway or anything like that. It's just,
right.
yep, you step out, you're outside. There's signs about water shortage and to really conserve by taking shorter showers and using the bottled water that they have to drink, and also to be careful if you're brushing your teeth because you don't want to get Montezuma's revenge or some other illness. And I took a picture of that, but it was kind of too far away to read. And it
Mhm,
was just like, wow, yeah, this is something that we kind of take for granted because, yes, we've had the whole Flint water crisis here for several years now. But I've never seen a sign like that before that
right.
just says, guests, please be aware of our water, that we don't have like the luxuries of you. And it's just, yeah,
Mhm,
coming home and being able to drink water, straight out of my fridge. And we use like a purifier. But
right,
yeah,
right.
it's just nice, and there's just more and more each time. So
Mhm,
yeah, that kind of changed my perspective a bit, and going to like hole in the wall place restaurants down like alleys that you would
mhm,
never go to because you wouldn't feel safe because it's uncertain. It's in an area that you don't know about. You don't know anyone there, and yeah, we kind of looked around us and kept our surroundings in mind, but we didn't feel like we were in danger. We just had a good time.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah. Um, the social aspect of that is really interesting, because it is true when you do go on vacations and you go out to places, you kind of strike up conversations with other people, and, whereas it's the same way I mean, I work from home, so I don't really get out and talk to a lot of people,
Yeah.
um, but even before when I worked, in the office, I kinda only, talk to the people on my team, and you kinda nod and say hi to other people, but, I'm introverted like you are,
Yeah.
and, I'm not one to go up and start a conversation with other people,
Mhm.
um, and I did learn to smile at people because I realized that I have a what's the word? A resting grumpy
Oh,
face, Yeah.
RBF.
So, people would say, "Oh, I didn't think you liked me," and until they got to know me, I'm like, "Oh, no, not at
Mhm.
all. I wasn't even thinking about you," or anything. So, um, that I'm taking that away because I want to be friendlier and come off as being someone that's approachable,
Mhm.
um, in normal situations. Obviously, if it's a dangerous situation, I don't wanna look like someone that you can approach,
Right,
you
right.
know, but I hope to never be in a situation like that. Um, but yeah, visiting other places, you do see the because even if, even though I'm not necessarily well off, I don't consider myself well off, but when I go on vacation, that's money
Mhm.
I've saved, I put aside, you know, so that I can go and spend money that I want to spend on different things. And so you're in a position where you're kind of not really worried about money. And so
Yeah.
when you're seeing other people that are, it really just highlights that and brings it to the forefront. Um, which is, I think it's always good to be aware of that because, um, you know, even in my own situation in where I was before, I was obviously aware of it because I was in a situation where I didn't have a lot of money to spare. Um,
Mhm.
but even now, I just try to make responsible choices so that I don't ever end up there again. But
Yeah.
some people, it's a lot harder for them to make that move.
Mhm.
There are always other extenuating circumstances, and to try and give people grace for that.
Agreed. Give grace.
Oh,
That's something I hear a lot recently myself. So I like that wording.
yes, me too. I like it too. I think it's because it acknowledges that it's not easy. To give grace, you kinda have to pull from some other force. It's
Yeah.
not human really to for us to give grace to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of gave grace to me today because normally we would be up at 9:30, and with how my sleep's been going, I'll get up at my regular time, 6:30. That's what the sleep medicine specialist wants me to get up at.
Mhm.
And then I might lay back down. Or I'll do some like housework or read for school. But at some point I'm usually laying back down.
Right.
And I've had other meetings where they were longer, and I was really trying to keep myself awake during those meetings. And thankfully, I think because you gave me that grace, I don't have that issue right now.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, it was good for me too, because like I said, I woke up and my body was just I don't know, I felt so drained and achy.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, sometimes we just need a little extra rest or even like I didn't go back to sleep. But I did, get some stuff done around the house and kind of felt like I got a head start on things. Whereas, um, sometimes if I don't have to get up, I won't. And then I'm just like, oh my goodness, I have to get all this stuff done, before the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, good. I enjoyed this conversation about vacations.
Yes, I did too. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
So I wonder oh, sorry, go ahead.
no problem. I was just saying, usually I'd be in visiting family at this time, but just due
Mhm.
to different circumstances, I'm home. So
Okay.
it
You're
works.
gonna be able to relax the rest of the day? You have
I've got a lot of schoolwork, but that's
okay.
not stressful, at least.
Right, right. Yeah, I have laundry today, and then I want to, um, just do a little bit deeper cleaning, stuff like that. I
Mhm.
really should work on my cutting boards, but, I don't wanna do it inside, and it's really, really dark, and it's not quite raining yet, but it's just very windy, and there's a lot of lightning and thunder, so I don't wanna do it outside either.
Hmm,
So, I guess I'll just stick to my indoor stuff today.
nice.
Um, yeah. Yeah. So, have we talked about de-stressing life before?
I think a little
Maybe?
bit here and there. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah. So, I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah. I always like
Yeah.
that because usually we get
Yeah.
an idea during our talk for the next one.
Yeah.
Um, Are you feeling it's good to wrap up our vacation talk?
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. I was thinking, we came out with a lot of things like, de-stressing, and I
Mhm.
wonder if we can maybe dive deeper a little bit into that our next episode. Like
De-stressing.
some,
I
yeah.
like that. I'm gonna write that in the comments.
Um, Especially like school will be starting up for a lot of people again,
Mhm.
the end of July, beginning of August. Like my kids go back August 1st, which is crazy. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. Well, thanks so
Yeah.
much, Janae, and thank you so much for everyone who joined us, whether you're live or watching the replay. This was Conversations on Health, Happiness, and Hope. Stay inspired.
Thank you for joining us, and remember to do something that makes you stronger every day. Bye.
Agreed. Bye.